welcome to Lapeer Community School Board of Education meeting from January the 9th, 2019. We will begin, the meeting is called order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance first. Mr. Stanton, I understand you have some guests.
We do. So we have Addie Moran, Molly Schwab, Josie Schwab will lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so we begin tonight with oath of office for our new members. Brad Hagenow and Philip Putnam.
It is my pleasure to do this. You guys stand up.
Come out here.
Come out here. No, up front. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee of the Board of Education of Lapeer Community Schools of Lapeer County, Michigan, according to the best of your ability and in support of the mission of the school district?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
First paycheck's in the mail.
So it's the last one. So we're always signing.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
That's for the misfits. Mine fell off my wall. I thought you knew.
It's a flat earth
Flush, yeah, that was Mary's idea.
Wow.
Are you sure?
Comes from the clerk.
Positive.
Oh, the clerk will send it.
100%.
Actually, from Lapeer County.
The clerk sent it.
I didn't get one from them.
That's what I'm saying. That's not fair.
Whatever it goes.
And the clerk's office turned over a new leaf in 2019, I guess.
Same clerk. Come in.
Getting it money there. Putting them in mute again by hand, so we're called the clerk's office. I need 5 more bucks.
You just put.
We're going to strike.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Denise, you want to come sit over here? This makes very nice.
Okay, our next order of business is the organizational business of the board. First, the election of board officers and appointment of school staff for 2019. Again, the nomination for the president.
I nominate Mike Keller for president.
I'll second that. Are there any other nominations? A nomination for Mike Keller for president, and a second. Mr. Peabody?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Nolan?
Aye.
Putnam?
Aye.
Mr. Hagenow?
Aye.
Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Keller says aye. Carries. Thank you. Next, we have nominations for the secretary.
I would nominate Denise Becker for secretary.
I'll second that.
Go ahead, Jane. I have a nomination for Denise Becker for secretary. It has been seconded. Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Mr. Aguilar?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam?
Aye.
Mr. Nolan?
Aye.
Mrs. Melbeck?
Aye.
Mrs. Peabody?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Carries. Congratulations. Thank you, Denise. Next, we have nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Mike Nolan to serve as vice president.
I have a nomination for Mike Nolan as the vice president. And it has been seconded. Mrs. Peabody.
Aye.
Mrs. Nougat.
Aye.
Mr. Nolan. Aye. Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Carries. Next, nominations for treasurer. Our practice has been to have the assistant superintendent for business and operations who serve as the treasurer of the board.
We move that Mark Rader, the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations, be appointed as treasurer.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Mrs. Peabody.
Aye.
Mrs. Nolan. Mr. Nolan.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly says aye. Carries. Next, we have an appointment of the recording secretary. The administration is recommending that Mary Moss continue as the recording secretary for the Board of Education.
I nominate Mary Moss to be appointed to serve as recording secretary for the Board of Education.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Does that come with, has to come with a certificate?
I get a feeling we're not living this one now. Mary, no certificate required?
Framed.
Frank. Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mr. Nolan. Aye. Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Peabody.
Aye.
Kelly. Aye. And two. And finally, we have the appointment of the board committees. It is recommended that the board continue with a four-committee structure: finance and operations, student advocacy and communication, teaching and learning, technology, and personnel. And we will also keep the legislative ad hoc committee in use as needed.
Yeah, I move that the board president be authorized to appoint board committee members and chairpersons to the following committees for 2019. Finance and operations, student advocacy and communication, teaching, learning and technology, and personnel. The board president will also be authorized to appoint members and chairpersons to the legislative ad hoc committee.
Motion is seconded.
Second.
And seconded. Mrs. Peabody.
Aye.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mr. Nolan.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly says aye. The motion carries. I have spoken, I believe, with most of you about committee assignments. And I have a draft that you can take a look at later, make sure everybody's good with it. And if so, then I'll give it from there. Okay, that concludes the organizational business. Next on the agenda is presenting school. Mr. Stanton?
Yes, Mr. Stanton, our principal at Roland Warner Middle School, will be presenting on district goal number 2.
Okay, so we're going to do things a little differently. Normally, you're used to schools coming in and talking about everything that they do great and excellent, which we're going to do. But we're also going to talk about kind of the process that we have for how the district and Roland Warren, what we do when we feel like there is an area of instruction or learning that maybe isn't, maybe there's some gaps there, maybe there's some improvement we can make. So we thought we would take you through kind of how that looks from a school level, a district level, and then kind of right down to the student level. So our board goal we're presenting on is board goal 2, implementing a strong district building leadership, high quality instruction in every classroom through a highly coherent, learner-centered instructional model where students meet their self-determined academic and personal goals to their highest potential. So you'll notice how I have highlighted their learner-centered instructional model. So this is something that we've really focused on at Roland Warner in improving a learner-centered model. And we'll kind of go through what exactly that is and the steps moving forward that we're using to even get better at certain areas of that. So I have Mr. Stevens is here to help me out.
We're going to kind of bounce back and forth on the presentation, so it'll be fluid. You'll see the actual benchmark is written out there for you, the 2.1 point B that we focused on. It's 100% of K-12 teachers will effectively be facilitators of student-centered learning as evidenced by walkthroughs. It's on Danielson domains 1 and 3, and honestly, domain 1 is instruction planning and planning preparation. It's harder to see walking in the classroom, so we'll focusing on the first 4 components of domain 3 that you see up there. First component is communicating with students. Second one's using questioning and discussion techniques. Third one is engaging students in learning, and the fourth one is using assessment and instruction. This is actually kind of condensed down from the domains from Danielson. I believe that our high school administrator, Dr. Lindsay, actually condensed this down for us and made this really nice color-coded rubric that we all looked at as we were going through this.
So what we did with this was we did, the next step was to have an instructional rounds at Roland Warner. And I'm sure other schools have talked about the instructional rounds process, but what we did was that graphic you just saw. We first put teachers into groups of 4. Teachers got together, went over the rubric, had a pre-brief where they discussed that, then we came up with a schedule, which you'll see up here in the upper corner, and then they visited each other's classrooms. We had a schedule for them, so they would go for 15 minutes at a time and visit, and what they were doing was they were looking at that student-centered learning rubric and looking at the highest quality student-centered learning and looking for things twofold. What are we really seeing that we're doing well at Roland Warner? What is pretty consistent in all our classrooms? And the second thing is maybe when they come out of there, what are some areas that we maybe need more growth? What are some areas that we need support as teachers, or maybe we're not seeing this as much as some of the other areas. We call them glows, the areas that really stood out that were doing well. So you kind of see here, after we did that with all the different groups, we a week later reconvened, came back together, discussed, got the groups together where they came up with their areas here where they felt really, these are some areas we think we can improve in. And so what that led to is a discussion on, and the nice thing was a lot of what they were seeing in different groups was pretty consistent, which I was worried that, what happens if they're noticing all these different things, and it didn't come out that way. So we really decided from Roland Warner, we said, okay, discussion techniques, enabling students to talk to one another without ongoing mediation from the teacher. The teachers felt like maybe that wasn't happening enough, maybe they needed some more strategies to allow the students to be able to have those conversations, was the first one. The second one was clear success indicators and high quality work that is clear to the students. So when the students are in class, do they know when they come out of there what's going to be, how will they know that they've mastered those learning targets? How will they know that they've got it, so to speak? And then finally, students are invited to explain their thinking as part of completing the test. So this was at Roland Warner. Mr. Stevens is going to kind of take you through the next process.
So after we had completed our own internal kind of audit of this, we had our COLT members and our administrative staff come through in the same type of process where we had a schedule, and they got the opportunity now to go through the teachers' rooms and go through the same process where they were determining goals and next steps as well. Now, our teachers opened up their arms and wanted everybody in, because there's nothing like having 4 administrators watching them teach at that time.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, they did a great job, and it was really important. What we stressed was this is not something where we're doing a dog and pony show. Do what you are scheduled to do. We truly want to see where we are at and develop our next steps out. And I think that it was extremely powerful, because the goals that the administrators and COLT teams came up with were the same goals our teachers came up with. The next steps were very, very close, very similar to what our next steps were that we had come up with internally. which told us, you know what, we did a honest job looking through our building and determining where we needed to move and what we were doing well, but again, what our next challenges were as well that we had to face as a building for our staff to grow. So with that being said, Dr. Steve's going to present the next steps.
And just a couple of these things here. These are things that we've worked on in the past and had professional development on, and the discussion techniques and the feedback. So these things you see up here, the glows, learning targets. We've done this extensively, working on students need clear learning targets to know what their goals are for that particular class period. So, and those things are, the work is evident because it was obviously the administrative walkthroughs and the teachers' walkthroughs really showed that those things were apparent. And like Mr. Stevens said, those next steps were very similar. So it was easy to come together and say as a staff, roll orders. So we've had all the administrators in our buildings, or in Roland Warner, we've had all the teachers involved in this, and we really all saw the same things. And we came up with a focus that this is going to drive us for the rest of this year and into next year. What do we really need to improve upon? And so, again, it was very similar. Improving our questioning and discussion techniques, developing clear success criteria, and then this one is kind of a mix, but we really, one of the next steps is really taking formative data from what we're learning from these first two and using it to inform instruction in the future. So, let's skip ahead here. So how this works is, so we decided that, okay, these are our 3 focus areas, so what we did is we spent our next 2 professional development periods, hours on November 1st and 15th, really focused on success criteria. How do we make how do we make it visual to students? This is how you're going to know you've mastered this. And so we spent some professional development on that. And this is kind of twofold. There's a very basic level to it that we weren't finding was happening. Teachers were very good at delivering the learning target, but also maybe, but not so much, okay, so this is the learning target. How are you going to know that you mastered it? So I think we got a couple, just a quick video here, Mrs. Gannon, of an example of a.
We're going to be doing a lot of activities that are going to be switching as well as involving a lot of discussion. A couple things that you need to make sure that you are paying attention to kind of keep you on track. By the end of today's lesson, you will have an idea that you are successful if you can successfully identify which numbers are bigger with an explanation of why and an underline, as well as if you can successfully combine your positive and negative numbers to get a total value. Okay, so that's what we're looking for today. We'll continue working on that tomorrow as well. So,
okay, another quick one here. You'll see with Mrs.
Is time and distance in a walking rate linear or not? By collecting some data and looking at the data. You'll know that you've met that goal of being able to determine whether it's linear or not if you can look at new data, which we'll do in an entrance slip tomorrow. You can look at that new data and determine, is it linear, and then be able to explain why or why not. Okay? That's the big.
Okay, so it seems simple, but that's not always what's happening. Students a lot of times aren't always prepared to understand, okay, all right, I get the learning target, okay, how am I going to know when I've gotten to that point? So that's the first layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Mrs. Burdett, our learning coach, Mrs. Keith, who is our ELA chair, and Mrs. Johnson, who's our math chair, and they're going to kind of talk a little bit now the next level, how does it go a little deeper in working with the students?
So I think the funny thing about coming here presenting, in the past we come in and show like outdoor ed and all these really flashy, exciting things to talk about, and success criteria doesn't really come across as something like parents are like, you know what, my kid's school really can do success indicators, or like kids don't reflect back and think 10 years ago, Miss Heath was so good at success indicators. But I promise you, it is one of the most powerful and critical components to successful teaching and learning. Because if we don't know, our students don't know, we don't know when they've actually met those learning targets, we're kind of just playing teacher every day. So you might think that our curriculum or our units that we use would tell teachers that information, and that's not how curriculum is written. It's not that we adopted things that aren't great, because we have. It's just not detailed that way. So it takes a long time. Our teachers have worked really hard on designing learning targets that are clear to students, but then designing like, how do you kids know you're there? And how do we know as teachers that you're there? So ELA in math is a little further along because we've adopted those programs a couple years earlier. So basically, English started by creating success criteria for units. And we have some examples of that. So there were some like big core ideas in each unit. And then we kind of looked at like, how do we know when kids have gotten these areas? So we created these progressions. You'll notice in the middle, there are success indicators kind of telling you if you're emergent all the way over to mastery. It took a long time to kind of articulate that with ourselves. Sometimes teachers might even create success indicators with students too. So we've got some ELA teachers doing that. That's kind of like if you've adopted this early and you're really pushing yourself to go far, that's the next level. And then on the right side of that table that you have, it also has the assessments that students and teachers can use to know where they're at on the continuum. The next part we have a blue one that's going to go around too. Yeah. This one is one that the teachers use in the classroom with students. This is like another next level thing too. So the students are looking at writing, I think that's writing stamina and fluency there. One side shows the success indicators for every level that you might be at. The other side, the students actually, this is an assessment they do, they track the writing stamina and fluency, and then they evaluate themselves based on those success criteria, make goals for the future. Then we have the math teachers. The work they've been doing, they've been kind of going by investigation, or to investigation to the next investigation, and they've looked at what are the success criteria for each of these. For English, their next step is going to be going through every single lesson and then writing success indicators for every learning target. So we kind of started in English, big picture, going down to more finer grain detail. Math started with that finer grain detail. And I'm going to hand it over to them to kind of explain how they've been doing it into their classrooms.
Okay. Well, as you saw in Darlene Gannon and Kelly Johnson's classrooms, we started classes by introducing learning targets and success criteria, but it doesn't end there. We started as a group, and there's a lot of information. Like this doesn't look like there's so much information on here, and I just love it. So we're math people. We like to see everything all laid out for us. On this, you can see the investigation and the learning targets for that investigation. And then we really, during our PLC time, we were really picking apart these investigations and finding out exactly what are the big key items that kids must know to move on. How are we going to know they're successful? And this one, I convert proper fractions if you can read. But anyway, I have students' names on the side here, and a lot of pluses and minuses. You can see my little notes on the side there where, who worked with BD, that's a para in my room. I wrote myself a little note to work with a particular student on Monday who was having big trouble with some of the lesson. Where they have a minus, I'm putting them into small groups and working with them myself. If they have pluses, they're getting some type of enrichment activity in a group. So it's been, this is my 20th year doing 6th grade math. And this is the first time I can tell you that I've actually been able to say, okay, he gets it, she doesn't, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to get them in a group in my classroom in the 50, 55 minutes we have and help them get where they need to be. So we've been using this, we can use this as formative data before we get to the big high stakes tests. So we know where kids are at and how to help them.
So the next video, are we still showing?
Do you want to show that now, or do you want to wait?
I can talk about it.
Yeah.
So basically, this year I'm in guided academics, which is a new class for tier 2 students, so students who are
very different levels, but they are scoring below grade level with reading that are not identified as special ed. And so it's our way of helping those students to boost. One thing that's been amazing with the success criteria, thinking about how it becomes student-centered and helps them to create their own goals, is a lot of times it's a mystery to kids, or they just think, well, I'm not very good at something, or I'm just not good at that. When you can see it clearly laid out, and you'll see in this next video with the student, they know, okay, I am here. I know I'm here because it's clearly defined for me. It's not a mystery. I'm not, well, I'm just smart or good at that, or the teacher likes me or doesn't like me. It's very specific. And so with that, when you have kids who traditionally maybe aren't good at something, or they just believe that, when they can see clearly what they need to go to the next level, they internalize that, they can make their own goals, and so success is not just a mystery anymore. It's very possible for them. And so I think the biggest aha for me has been allowing my students to be able to make their own goals, and that motivates more than, like treats or this, or, like to see that I can actually do this. This is where I'm at right now, and even though it's low on the score, I know I can get to there, and all I have to do are these things. And so they're articulating their own goals as well as like within the classroom. And so I think that makes it very powerful for kids. And it's something, we don't know how to get better. I mean, all human beings will struggle, but as soon as you can say, well, I can do that, I just need to do these things to get there. So that's been really powerful, and that's what you're going to see with that next video.
Okay, Dylan, so you've been in Miss T's guided academics class, and you've been working on the reading unit. You guys have done a lot of different assessments. You tracked yourself, you said, for fluency and stamina. Now you've got these rubrics here for you. Tell me how you use the rubrics to write goals for yourself.
Well, we have the emerging skills. Emerging kind of like you're just getting into it, and developing you're just like third level, like getting into it, and then like progressing is you're really just you're like you have like 10 minutes right here where you have to like list everything about like the stuff you like, how you do, like how you are the reader, and you have to like basically just like help yourself out with like your reading, your writing, and this like using this is just like when you see this, you're basically like, okay, so like you say like, oh, I really do well, maybe I should myself need to do harder, do better, and then you do one constant, normally you need to read more books, and then you can like push yourself to do harder, like do more, those books, and then like.
Okay, so we just yanked him out of the class. There's absolutely no preparation. And they're early in the morning. They just like, hey, do you want it? And so typically, for me, this is a kid, without revealing too much, at the beginning was very reluctant, but is now articulating these things. And so to come this far for him, he's like really proud, and so to just say, well, I don't know what I'm doing and they have it inside of them, but it's just, when you make it clear where it's not a mystery, I think that's where they really shine. So that was just kind of a big thing. He's not scared.
But we cut it off a little early because way at the end of this, he actually creates a nice goal about deeper comprehension. Usually kids are like, I want to read more books. But he's like, I need to think deeper and write more things about the characters. So it's pretty powerful. Okay. So this video is a capture students with exit tickets, and so this is actually passing time. They're leaving class and actually caring about what they're doing, but they had some success in fears about those areas there. Then they decided what area they needed to work on, and they came out with a little goal and they stuck it on this big sheet that's shared each hour, so kids kind of know this is where I'm at, this is where my friends are at, and then the teachers have a quick way to kind of work with kids and group them and pick strategies that they could work on with those specific kids. It always looks pretty good, doesn't it? Everybody thinks the hogs are crazy. Kids are getting stuff done.
We also made sure everything was.
You don't see it as Jeff standing in the background.
So yeah, it's a lot of that is things that now have really started to take off this year due to that process and getting to the point where we've spent professional development on that. And so coming up next, we're going to focus on our focus area number 2, really working on our second goal, which is improving those questioning and discussion techniques to include a variety of questions that enable students to discuss without teacher mediation. So that's our plan for the upcoming PDs, is to really get teacher strategies on this. And you know, we're reading a book study with our administrative group, and one of the things that came up is 80% of what happens in a class is not visible to the teacher of what's happening, which is a big deal. And that's what the idea of making learning visible is making more opportunities for kids to make apparent what they know visible to the teacher, so the teacher knows how to improve instruction. So I'm just going to show you an example here real quick using a swivel camera, which is a really neat tool that allows us to kind of split some videos here and just show you a quick video clip of the teacher speaking, and then the teachers having the ability, we can use this for numerous different things, but to analyze student discussions and what's going on after that. So.
One but might have too that they think doesn't belong in life. So now I want you to just have a quick conversation with each other as to which one each of you said that doesn't belong in your reasoning, to see if it's different, and then we're going to do a quick share out after that. Again, you've got about 45 seconds to share with each other. Go ahead and do that.
So click on another.
They're all the way to 7.
Yeah, 3 does not go into the 11 center. 1 goes in the 2 goes in the 7 goes in the 6.
Should be able to try one more time. But you get the idea. What was going to happen here if you click on this next video is you hear these students discussing the same thing, having that discussion. You'll notice again the goal, there's not mediate. The teachers, if you can see the teacher in the larger video is walking around facilitating, but what we want is those students in those small groups to be able to facilitate their own discussions. And that is important. It's not just, you can't just walk into a classroom as a teacher and say, all right, go ahead and turn and talk about this. And it needs to be directed by the teacher and have a plan for it. But teaching those students how to do that and giving the teachers those strategies to be able to allow those students to have those conversations and without having the teacher have to lead them through that. So. Mr. Stevens is going to take us home here.
So on that last one, when you saw the different chunks, the top one was the actual swivel going around, so it would follow the teacher according to their thought. The other students had their Chromebooks open, just sitting there, so it's videotaping through the Chromebooks, and they chatted with the recording. So that's how you saw the different videos there. So you can include more on with that. For our what does the future hold? Nothing. We are done now. Get wasted. We're out of here. No, I hope that some of the things you guys caught, and even myself sitting in back and listening to this, some of the things you caught, PLCs. Teachers are doing this in PLC time. It's extremely important. Was that our benchmark we were hitting? Certainly not, but you know what? It's one of the benchmarks that's being hit. Our visible minds, our book study that we're doing, and I believe next year, can I divulge or not? We're going to be doing book studies with teachers as well, because we found it so helpful with us and our administrative group. So it's important that you heard, because I did hear Jeff bring that up as well. Domain 3, that's our evaluation. It's our teacher evaluation. So they are not only improving themselves, but improving their evaluations as they go along in this. So I hope that we understand we're improving in all areas and we're working on student-centered learning like this. And it's important that we keep moving forward. So we aren't really done. You'll see that we're going to go ahead and do more instructional rounds. The teachers, even after having all administrators and Colton there, wanted to do more instructional rounds in the building as well, so we could see where we were going and how we progressed on this. Obviously, our walkthrough data, as I said, domain 3 is going to shoot us in the correct direction as well. So we certainly are not done at this, and we'll continue to work on this and possibly other areas depending upon the blows, or we may need to go on back next year and revisit some of these areas on what the data shows for us. So that is where Rolling Water is at right now, and we thank you for listening to us for our, hopefully we did 15 minutes. You're close? I wish you had the timer. If you have any questions, Dr. Stanton's available to answer them.
Any questions from the board?
I think it's really neat the kids are doing things instead of just sitting there listening to the teacher. They feel empowered probably by what they're doing and interact.
It's especially important in middle school too. Kids don't want to sit there and listen to the teacher.
Right.
They don't. I think what you're doing here really tells a story. You started out talking about, you basically did a gap analysis, right? This is what we're doing well, these are the things we need to improve. You know your gaps, right? You kind of did the same thing on the students, right? This is where you're at, here's your gaps, but now you're laying it out. And you're involving that student, which is really the main stake. Parents are absolutely interested, but like you said, it's that person. It's not bringing them a cupcake. It's showing them this is how you can do it. And you're giving them the tools, you're giving them the instruction. And I think you really tell the story. And as you were doing this, I was thinking that parents are at home thinking about when they went to school. And they sat in rows, right? And the teacher told them what to say next, and they said it back, and everybody was happy. I think if we could take what you're doing somehow and package that, and when you're having parent-teacher conferences and things, maybe just set up a room where people can come in and see these types of things, and you can explain this is what we're doing and this is the result. It really does. It tells a great story, and this is why Lapeer is where it is today, because of everything you're doing. So, recommend you.
I think of critical thinking and how we just talk about that all the time at college, and you guys are getting that through to these students, plus yourselves. You are looking at yourselves and doing the critical thinking, and that's what's tough. We have a hard time with that, so impressive. You know, soft skills are so important, and those students are getting that in those areas, and man, I'm really impressed. Thank you.
I think what we're going to do, next is public comment. We have no public comment cards. What I'd like to do is just take a small recess for those who would like to depart rather than sit through the rest of the meeting. And then maybe we can take some pictures or whatever you want to do up with her. Okay, so let's take, I don't know, about 7 minutes. Okay, we're back in session. We have reports tonight, 2 reports, the Personnel Committee and the Finance and Operations.
All right, so we met, or I met along with Peggy and Kim Seafree, and the meeting was called to order, and we discussed pretty much the strategic plan. We discussed option 2, which includes the following configuration: E5 kindergarten at Turtle, 1 through 4 at East Site, 5 and 6 at William Warner, 7 and 8 at Zemmer, 9 through 12 at West Site, and alternate admin virtual at this building. Basically, we talked about, and all the focus group, majority of the focus group participants and the committee preferred this option, as there were fewer transitions from option 1. In addition, option 2 would need more, would need minimal modifications to most of the existing buildings. So, we are still in the collecting information phase, so this talk continues, and this option will continue to be explored. And we adjourn.
Thank you, Mrs. Novak. Are there any questions? No, we will move on to Finance and Operations. Mrs. Spivak.
Those present were Mike Keller and Margaret. How do you say your name? I always get his name. Ray here. Are you want it right? And Superintendent Andre. And we also discussed how option 2 of the strategic plan evolved into what it was, and there was questions about We discussed at length the east side being the elementary building, and then we discussed the admin building options. And we also, did the same as Lisa. So we had a good discussion about input from the community that we had heard, and that was pretty much what we discussed too, and further input from the community will be collected.
Thank you, Mrs. Peabody. Any questions? Seeing none, we are going to move on to action items. And our first action item is a consent grouping. Just as a reminder, we have consent grouping. There's no discussion on the motion, but anything can be pulled from the consent grouping by the board member for further discussion if need be. We have one item in consent grouping tonight, and that is just the approval of the minutes of the December 5th regular meeting.
Move the reading of the minutes be waived and approved as presented.
Or,
Been moved and supported. Mrs. Becker?
aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Mrs. Buckman?
Aye.
Mr. Nolan?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Peabody?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly says aye. Motion carries. That takes us to closed session. We are going to closed session to discuss contract negotiations. Right, for the record,
I'll move that the board move to closed session to discuss negotiations.
Support.
been moved and supported. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none. Mrs. Peabody?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Nolan?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Kelly is aye. Motion carries. We will go into closed session. And we have the LSDAA 2019-2021 master agreement on the agenda. Motion.
I move that the 2019-2021 LSDAA master agreement be approved as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or any motion? Seeing none. Mrs. Peabody?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Nolan?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam?
Aye.
Mr. Hagan?
Aye.
Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Kelly is aye. And motion carries. Congratulations. Takes us to board member communication topics. Are there any topics tonight from any board member?
First off, just what an honor it is to be back working with Denise, Mike, and then working with Jan and Lisa in the summer for the first time. Exciting time to be back. I wish they were still here because I'd like to tell Jeff and Wyatt what a great job they're doing. You know, Wyatt, 2 years ago after I left the board, hired me to coach 7th grade football. And what an honor it was to get back to the district, but also to see the work that they're doing there. Over the last 2 years, the kids coming to practice and saying, hey, we did this in Mr. Pro's class, or hey, you know, we're doing this in Mrs. Bjork's class, right? That stuff was, put it bluntly, electric, right? Because they're learning and they're taking it with them. That's why we call them student athletes, obviously. So just thank you to them and what a great job they're doing turning Roland Warner around. So,
And in the future, when they do make the presentation, you may want to add those comments right after. Usually by the time we get down to the
Yes.
presentation, everybody needs to get home, get ready for tomorrow, you know?
Yep.
Thank you. Any other comments tonight?
I just want to say thank you. I'm really excited about joining the board. Tonight being so official. I wasn't expecting it, but that's amazing. Thank you. And I just, like I said, I can't wait to begin.
Just real briefly, a couple of things. I do want to say welcome officially to you two. It's great to have you on board, and the rest of us are all looking forward to working with you. And Brad, don't feel bad. I should have said some things to them too, that I was thinking that at least a couple of them would say, and I apologize, but I didn't. It's always good to hear from them, and I just like the fact that, as I said to think about some of the things, just that even in my line of work, if you can't define what the goal is, how can you ever get there? And, you know, when I hear them talking about how they've actually sat down to think about that, it sure would be helpful to the students, and I would like some of that when I was in school, I think. So it was just great to hear, as always. And this year, my wife and I are pleased to do this again, but we were actually asked by the basketball coaches this year if we would again put on a pickup game. And so now that my daughter's gone, we're going to continue it on anyway. And so Friday, January 25th is the game against Davison. And I know that's not a lot of notice, but we're going to do it anyway. So if you are out and available and willing to brave the elements on Friday, January 25th, please come, wear your pink, and let's have some fun.
Is that both varsity teams at home?
It's just the boys and girls varsity.
Yeah, so 5 and 7.
5:30, 7 o'clock.
Got it. Great.
I know last year was,
You were great, thank you.
it was a lot of fun, they did a great job.
I'd just like to say welcome, Brad, Summer. Congratulations, Denise. And yeah, it's exciting to hear what's going on at Golden Warner. I picked up that the staff like these instructional rounds they're doing. They're learning from each other, and then they're taking that and, somehow weaving it into their classroom and stuff. So, other than that, I'm happy it's 2019. Here we go.
And it's exciting. And I know, actually, we all probably should have said all this stuff while they were here. But like they said, when you sit here, what was going through my mind is when I was in school. And that's it. It's like, man, you just have the teacher tell you to do this, and this is the way you do it. And it was like, this is so different. And I just can't help thinking how much more exciting it would be to be a student right now and being taught that way. And it just has to make it so much better. And even when I moved out here, I think about being just involved in the schools and the way teachers were. And it has come so far from that point of where your teacher just stood up there and taught and didn't want to change anything, to way now, like you said, they're so excited to be learning from each other. It's just awesome.
Thank you. Summer, Brad, welcome. If you need anything, call. I might answer.
No, really.
If you need anything, just holler, and we'll get you anything you need. If you need information. And I agree with all this discussion, what we heard tonight from Irwin Warner, and I really mean that we need to get that message out better than we can to parents, to public. I mean, it's been a while since I worked in Lansing, but when I was there, there really was this a paradigm there that it was still that 1950 style classroom. I don't know how to get, these presentations, if we could somehow combine them into videos and just bombard our legislators, look, this is what's really happening, and this is why we should fund public education. It's so different than what it was. I'm really, really proud of what we're doing here. And happy New Year. Mr. Wonder.
Thank you, Mr. President, and we're proud too, from Cole perspective, when we look at the focus of these goal-based presentations. It's not fluff, it's really the work of what's happening in these buildings. And to Jan's point, we as Cole have been able to participate in instructional rounds as well. And from the top of the district to the classroom teacher, everybody is focused on improving their instructional practice. And Wyatt was right. We have been, it's tough as a teacher when the superintendent and curriculum director and special ed director and 4 principals walk into your room. But they understand, and I believe there's a trust that we really are there to see the best of what they're doing and amplify and magnify that. So it has been a great year seeing all that and really focusing on what are the most research-based practices that equal and help grow student achievement. What are those things, and let's focus on them. Welcome to Brad and Summer. I just want to say that you can look and you can monitor and gauge the health of the district based on the quality of the people that you attract to run for its board. And, as the leader of the district, it gives me great pleasure to look around this table and include the two of you in that grouping now, that we have some high-quality people that desire to be a part of this school district. And we've had three board cycles now in a row where we have not had any candidates that had any ill will towards the district, where there was a grudge that was motivating them to run. That truly believe that the motives of people that want to be a part of this were pure folks with the best intentions of our students and the future of our district in mind. And we couldn't be happier that the two of you emerged as the winning candidates, because we know that you're of that mindset, that you're going to be part of a really high-functioning team, which includes Cole. And we've had a great working relationship for my time here, and it has manifested itself in significant success in a variety of areas in this district. And we hope to maintain that and grow with your opinions, with your input, with your insight, and with your expertise. So welcome. I have a document that is really, I wanted to share with you. This is an internal document that we created in Cole a number of years ago for the second half of the school year, to demonstrate to you the amount of work in the different arenas that we are charged with managing. Because January to June is an absolute race. And there's so much going on, and with the added complexity of the strategic plan, this is a draft document. It's not for anything other than informational for you to start to put together and understand what the next 6 months would look like for our district. And so I'm going to pass this out and just very, very briefly point out a couple different things for your review. So in the left-hand column, it is the actual activities. So you'll see at the top, board meetings, and then we've actually have an idea really well of what the meeting topics will be. Leadership activities from the union perspective, our budget development process, some key legislative elements that happened during this time, collective bargaining and where we're at with regards to that, district staffing, strategic planning, school improvement, and then across each month, it basically kind of lays out for you the different activities that are happening, kind of all simultaneously on a parallel train track. So the budget process begins in earnest in February. Obviously, we back up with the January Revenue Consensus Conference, and we begin to put together some of our ideas for forecasting and building the budget. Our budget managers groups begin to meet in March. And then you begin to see kind of where the board meetings kind of support some of that work. So this is really just for your information to understand all that's happening in the district. And of course, this doesn't include anything that we heard tonight as it relates to curriculum instruction and growth that we want to take and have with that. This really is kind of the nuts and bolts of business, superintendent office, human resources work that will be taking place in the next 6 months. So I think once you see it all together, it helps keep us focused, but I guarantee you the next 6 months will absolutely fly by, and we'll be into July and prepping for hopefully a successful bond in the fall. So that's all to come. And finally, Mr. President, just wanted to comment. We have promised that the month of February would include a final presentation about the direction of the strategic plan. Colt team and I have met and continue to meet with the construction management company, our architect firm, members of the community to kind of fine-tune, get more feedback on option 2 that was discussed at the Personnel and Finance and Ops Committee as reported on tonight. We feel that instead of cramming that presentation and that discussion into the first board meeting of the month with all of their topics, it might be wise to conduct a special meeting in the month of February later in the month where that's our only topic. No action will be asked of the board that evening. It will just be kind of like a old-time work session where we have some good discussion. I intend to bring some parents and some community members and some staff in that will be available to give their insight on the plan and answer, and have some questions from the board, maybe have some dialogue with us that evening. But I think it's appropriate that we dedicate an entire evening to that. It is a really big deal. There's a lot of discussion. Mary will be reaching out in the next couple of days to see what days the last 2 weeks of February may work for you guys and what's most convenient for you. But I would anticipate a 7 o'clock meeting. You know, we spend a good hour, hour and a half talking about the plan, and you get the opportunity to ask questions. We'll talk about timeline, our marketing plan, and next steps, and lay out what the next 7 to 9 months will look like. That'll be your last opportunity to quit. We're in or we're not, and where do we go from there? So that's the end of my report. If there are any other questions?
And right now, we're looking at possibly February 20th or 27th. Does not have to be a Wednesday. But Mary, you
20th seems to work for everybody.
Sounds good, I think, for everybody. Well, I haven't talked to
Yeah,
everyone.
once we confirm, and
Great. Okay. Yeah, we'll verify. Wonderful. Good.
and this is after you, or seek them.
What kind of motion might you want to make?
Oh. I make a motion to adjourn.
Mrs. Peabody.
Aye.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mr. Nolan. Aye. Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mr. Haviland. Aye. Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Mr. Travis is aye. We are adjourned.